Hello, Michigan gardeners. This is Doug at Buzzard Family Farm. We're located on Verona Road, just outside of the city of Marshall, Michigan. I'm out in the field right now. This is the winter sowing that I did back in March, April, even late February in the milk jugs. And you can see here's the poppies, some of the poppies. That one's going to be purple. These have opened. And then down further, it's a really nice red poppy. I'm not cutting these for cut flowers. I'm really looking for the seed head when they go by. But there's some larkspur mixed in. This is larkspur right here. You can see that tall spiky flower coming. And so this is all from winter sowing using milk jugs. You can go back to the video I did early March and showed you how I did that. And then I did another video where I showed you the process of planting them out here. And I'm out here right now. I put a second piece of twine on my stakes. I did this one quite some time ago down below, and as the plants got taller, I just added this one to give them some support if we should get winds and they kind of get knocked around. If they get knocked down on the ground, then the flower stems try to grow straight up again and they have a big kink in them and it doesn't really work. But I just wanted to do a quick video and show you some of the winter sowing, and then can look at the other cut flowers. This is Cresspedia or drumstick, and it's just about ready to be cut. I can cut some of that. It goes fresh or dried, either one. This is a new one I'm trying, and I'm not even sure what the name of it is unless I dig down there and find the tag. I'm interested to see what it looks like. This is Feverfew here. Feverfew is an excellent filler flower. And then this is Buplurum, which is a nice filler. This white spiky is Mignonette, which is a nice flower that adds an accent to things. This one here just starting to flower some Victoria Blue Salvia, but I'll need it to get much taller than that before I can really cut it. And then I have a planting of straw flowers, which I don't bother to stake or tie. They tend to be strong enough to stand up on their own. Some more Feverfew, and then some Ageratum. I grow two types. One is Blue Horizon, which is the blue one at this end, and the other one is Timeless, which can be pink or white. And then up ahead, large planting of Status, which has flower heads just beginning to open. There's some white there, not quite ready to be picked yet, but you can see as I go up through, you can see all the flower heads on the Status. And again, wonderful flower, cut or dried, either one. Here's a second planting of snapdragons, and they're staked, and I probably will not have to tie them again. I may have to, we'll see. I have tied them a second time. This is a butterfly plant called Apollo. We got this from Johnny's Seeds. It's orange. Very, very pretty. We do find when we cut it, we have to dip the stems in boiling water to seal the ends and make the sap stop running out of it. And then here's a bunch of Rudbeckia that we'll be cutting, some Amobium, which is another dried flower, some asters, and then it just goes on and on. Way over, I've got dahlias, which are just peeking through. Another planting of Status right there. And then right in the middle, I have a row of perennials. The sweet peas have started up ahead, and the early snapdragons I planted, I've been picking on those for a while, so I can show you some of the snapdragons. This is all Lisianthus down here. Lisianthus won't be ready until probably mid-July. Slow grower. Have to start it in February if you're going to do it from seed yourself. Most growers bring in plugs from a grower so that they don't have to start it quite so soon. Planting of bachelor buttons, really, really pretty. The calendula, which did a video when I planted this stuff out, and I've been cutting on that regularly. And here are the sweet peas. For weeks and weeks and weeks, they just don't grow. You put them in the ground. I do it in April, and they just sit there. And you think they're not doing anything, but they're really rooting. And then they slowly begin to climb up this lattice work that I made for them. You can see a white sweet pea, a pink one back there, lavender up here. Most of the ones I grew this year were the Mammoth series. So it's a real good cut flower, and smells great, obviously, as a sweet pea. But this is my first planting of snapdragons. So this is Chantilly Bronze. I've cut much of it, but there's some more coming. And then I have Costa Silver up here. I've cut most of that. And here's Costa Apricot. And then the Rockets, which are really the one that I love to grow the most. It's all mixed colors. You can see there's one flower bud over there, a few more up here. It's usually later in June before I get them, but it looks like I may get them before late June this year. But 4th of July, we always have lots of rocket snaps, and you can mix the red and white snaps with the blue ageratum and have a red, white, and blue kind of bouquet going on. But have a little more room left to go to plant out in the black plastic. I just keep doing sequential plantings of basil and dara and different flowers that really you want to do sequential plantings, because your older plantings will just kind of poop out after a while. There's the chance with basil that if you have a highly humid summer, you might lose an earlier planting of basil to mildew, and so it's good to have another planting going. And we like to use basil in fresh cut bouquets. We use dill in fresh cut bouquets. And then, of course, we have people who want to just buy it for culinary purposes, so we try to keep some in the farm stand for that also. But that's the progress out here in the flower garden section of our vegetable area, really. It's mostly vegetables, but this is the flower section. And I put out a second planting of zinnias. The first one is the furthest row over, and then I put the second one out up here further. So we've got a little bit more planting to do in the flowers, and over here will be all the sunflowers. I just staked and tied those up because, again, when we get strong winds, and we often do when a front comes through, it can knock the sunflowers right over, and then the flowers just kind of make a big bend in the stem and go up, and they aren't usable in a bouquet anymore unless you're going to have a sunflower in like a 4-inch vase, and that's not what most people want a sunflower for. So we tie them up, put some stakes around them, and run some twine. I'll run twine 1 or 2 more times as they grow taller, and then if we do get winds, the twine tends to hold them in place and saves the stems most of the time. Not all the time, but most of the time. And so I'll just keep going with sunflower plantings all up and down these last rows of black plastic that are left on this side over here. One other plant you might be interested in is Suncredible. This is a proven winter plant. It is a long blooming sunflower. I will just keep cutting and cutting and cutting it. It grows like a bush. I have about 16 of them planted here, and you can see the height of some of those stems. They're a perfect size for a bouquet as a focal flower or as a filler flower. They will produce all summer long. We sell them in smaller pots for $9 during the course of the season. But before we sell too many, I make sure I grab as many as I want and bring them out here to the cut flower section and plant them. They're absolutely no care other than making sure you continue to cut and cut and cut. If you don't cut the flowers, they tend to get a little bit rangy. But if you keep cutting the flowers off, they just get to be a bigger and bigger bush, and they keep producing flowers all the way into October. So it gives us a steady stream of smaller sunflowers. These are not your bigger sunflowers, but smaller ones that sometimes people want just as an add-in in a bouquet. something a little bit extra, but they don't want it to be the predominant flower as a larger sunflower might be. Okay, that's what's going on out here, and I'll talk to you the next time.